Here are the top stories for today, July 15, 2020. The Philippines vow to address human rights violation claims. The country will still maintain its friendly ties with China amid Beijing's rejection on arbitral ruling. BSP Governor Benjamin Diokno stresses the importance of gradually reopening the economy. And more Pinoys hold on to their faith in fighting COVID-19. Good day, I'm William Theo. Welcome to the PNA Newsroom. The Philippine government vows to address claims of human rights violations. Its permanent mission to the United Nations presented and promulgated the Philippine Human Rights Situational Report before the Office of the United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights. In his statement on Monday, PCOO Secretary Martin Andanar said, the presented report detailed the comprehensive understanding and appreciation of the Duterte administration's commitment towards furthering every Filipino's human rights. This amidst the misinterpreted allegations brought by different interest groups. Andanar said the administration of President Duterte will continue to promote the protection and preservation of human rights while concurrently implementing policies with public interest. 4 new petitions challenging the constitutionality of Republic Act 11479 or the Anti-Terrorism Act of 2020 has been consolidated at the Supreme Court together with the earlier batch of petitions. The last 4 cases were filed by the former head of the Office of the Government Corporate Counsel, Rudolph Philip Jurado, Christian Munsod, Felicitas Aquino, and the Ateneo Human Rights Center, 2 labor groups represented by the Center for Trade Union and Human Rights and the Pro-Labor Legal Assistance Center, and the San Lakas Party List. The first 4 cases were filed by the group of lawyers Howard Calleja, former Education Secretary Armin Luistro, Albay Representative Edsel Lagman, the group of Law Dean Mel Santamaria, several professors of the Far Eastern University, and the Makabayan Bloc in the House of Representatives led by Bayan Muna Party List Representative Carlos Isagani Zarate. The SC earlier required the Office of the President, several agencies under the Executive Department, and both Houses of Congress to comment on the last 4 petitions seeking to stop the enforcement of the law starting July 19. The Supreme Court has reset to next month the deliberation on the petition filed by ABS-CBN questioning the government's order to halt its broadcast operations. Chief Justice Diosdado Peralta has confirmed that the petition will be called again for deliberation by the SC Bank on August 4. In a 70-11 vote on July 10, the House of Representatives denied the application for a legislative franchise of the Lopez-owned broadcast network. Previous House hearings have exhaustively discussed the network's franchise issues, including the citizenship of ABS-CBN Chair Emeritus Gabby Lopez, the possible violation of the constitutional limits on foreign ownership, reported labor and tax violations, and other violations on the terms of its legislative franchise. Meanwhile, affected employees of ABS-CBN will be given assistance by the government. The Labor Department will determine exactly the number of ABS-CBN employees, who they are, and their nature of employment. Labor Undersecretary Ana Dion said if termination, reduction, or displacement of workforce becomes unavoidable, the first thing that ABS-CBN should do is compensate the employees because it is legally bound to pay separation benefits to those who will be retrenched or terminated. Speaker Alan Peter Cayetano dismissed as completely false the claims of Senator Grace Poe and Vice President Leni Robredo that the denial of ABS-CBN's franchise bid would have a chilling effect on other media organizations. Cayetano said the chilling effect would only apply to those who would abuse the system. He also told Poe to just chill as the country is on the right track and that the denial of the franchise application is precisely the precedent they want to make, as the House will never tolerate anyone, including oligarchs, who will abuse the system and cheat both the government and the people. All Philippine Navy personnel and guests present during the commissioning of the country's first missile frigate, BRP Jose Rizal, were ordered to go on self-quarantine after one of the Navy officers in the event tested positive for COVID-19. Meanwhile, policemen and soldiers will help local police in implementing the lockdown ordered by the Navotas City government due to the surge of COVID-19. More on these from Chris Crismundo.
All Navy personnel who attended the frigate rides last week are ordered to undergo self-quarantine after one of the Navy officers tested positive for COVID-19. They also advised the attendees to undergo polymerase chain reaction or PCR testing. Navy Chief Vice Admiral Giovanni Carlo Bacordo has been on self-quarantine since Saturday and was swabbed earlier Tuesday. He is now awaiting the result. In other news, motorcycle riders have until Sunday, July 19, to install the barriers prescribed by the government in allowing back riding. Joint Task Force COVID-19 Shield Commander Lieutenant General Guillermo Elizar said riders may choose between the prototype design by Bohol Provincial Government and the design submitted by ride-hailing firm Angkas. Elizar said the grace period aims to give motorcycle riders enough time to comply with the policy. Aside from installing physical barriers and wearing of face masks and helmets, motorcycle riders are also required to present proof that they are married or live-in partners. Married couples should have the same last name, while common law partners must have the same address in their IDs to be presented to law enforcers. Moreover, the Joint Task Force will deploy 348 policemen and soldiers to Navotas City to help local police in implementing the lockdown. The city government ordered the lockdown due to the surge of coronavirus disease cases. Elizar said he has already met with Mayor Toby Chanco regarding measures and other strategies that would be enforced in the city, possibly to contain the movement of residents. The lockdown will take effect at 5 a.m. of July 16 until 11:59 p.m. of July 29. Based on the latest data, Navotas has almost 1,000 cases. More than half of them are active cases. At least 325 cases have recovered, while 59 residents died of the infection. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Chris Crismundo.
Still to come, NBI report shows slain soldiers in Hulosulu had back gunshot wounds. And the country will still maintain its friendly ties with China even if Beijing continuously rejects the arbitral ruling. More on these when the PNA Newsroom continues.
Tandaan ang tamang paraan ng paghuhugas at paglilinis ng kamay upang makaiwas sa iba't ibang karamdaman. Basain ng tubig ang mga kamay at sabunin. Unang sabunin ang mga palad at ang likod ng mga kamay. Kuskusin na maigi ang pagitan ng mga daliri at maging ang mga kuko. Isunod ang pagitan ng mga hinlalaki at kuskusin ng paikot ang mga dulo ng mga daliri sa magkabilang palad. Banlawang mabuti ang mga kamay sa malinis na tubig at patuyuin ang mga kamay gamit ang single-use towel o air dryer. Basta't sama-sama at laging handa, kaya natin to! Isang paalala mula sa DOH, PCOO, KBP at ng himpilang ito. Alamin kung paano ang tamang pagsusuot ng surgical mask. Una, hawakan ang mask sa strap at siguruhing natatakpan nito ang inyong bibig at ilong. Tandaan, ang may kulay na bahagi ng mask ang dapat nasa labas. Ito lamang ang tamang paraan ng pagsuot nito. Ihulma ang nose piece o maliit na metallic strip ayon sa hugis ng inyong ilong. Iwasan ang paghawak sa inyong ilong at bibig. Kung marumi na ang mask, hubarin ito gamit ang strap at itapon ito sa isang basurahan. Siguruhin ang maayos na paghuhugas ng kamay gamit ang sabon at tubig. Ang surgical mask ay dapat gamitin ng mga pasyenteng may sakit sa baga o mga taong mayroong ubo, sipon at lagnat, mga nag-aalaga sa mga may sakit, at mga healthcare at frontline workers. Maaari ring magsuot nito kung kayo ay pupunta sa matataong lugar. Basta't sama-sama at laging handa, kaya natin to! Isang paalala mula sa DOH, PCOO, KBP at ng himpilang ito.
You're still watching the PNA Newsroom. The National Bureau of Investigation has submitted their initial investigation on the killing of 4 Army intelligence operatives in Holosulu. Reports show that slain soldiers all had gunshot wounds on their backs. According to the ballistic report, the shells and slugs found at the scene of the crime matched the firearms of the police officers involved, and that the bullet wounds were mostly on the back of the body, with 1 soldier sustaining 8 wounds. The NBI is expected to sue the policemen implicated in the incident. Justice Secretary Menardo Guevara said he expects that a criminal complaint will be filed very soon with the Department of Justice unless the NBI intends to submit a supplemental report. The Philippines will maintain its friendly ties with China even after Beijing once again rejected Manila's call to recognize the Hague-based Arbitral Court's 2016 decision on South China Sea disputes. According to presidential spokesperson Harry Roque, President Duterte would not force China to acknowledge the arbitral ruling to boost the trade and economic cooperation between the two countries. He, however, clarified that the latest plan was not meant to abandon the Philippines' historic South China Sea arbitration victory against China. He made the remark after Foreign Affairs Secretary Teodoro Locsin Jr. on Sunday called on China to adhere to the sea ruling, saying the arbitration award in favor of the Philippines is non-negotiable. Locsin's call came on the same day the Philippines marked the 4th anniversary of its historic win against China. China rejected Locsin's call, saying the decision favoring the Philippines is illegal and invalid. Roque assured that the Philippines would continue to defend its national interests in the hotly contested waters.
While itong disagreement natin ito ay hindi dahilan, at hindi naman po ito ang suma total ng ating relasyon sa China. At isasantabi muna po natin yung mga bagay na hindi mapagkasunduan, kasama na po itong territorial dispute nito. Ang importante po ngayon at tupagin natin yung pagpapatupad ng pagbubuo at pagpapatupad ng Code of Conduct nang maiwasan po yung tensyon sa lugar na yan.
Authorities have placed a sitio in Banga Town in South Cotabato under lockdown after an infected overseas Filipino worker breached home quarantine. Rom Dulfo has the story.
Sitio Awal in Barangay Lamba, Banga Town in South Cotabato, was placed under total lockdown for 5 days starting Tuesday after an OFW who tested positive for COVID-19 was found to have breached the quarantine protocol. The female OFW who worked in Kuwait arrived from Manila last July 6 and underwent testing before being sent to home quarantine. She, however, broke quarantine and went to nearby Surala town to visit the canning plant of Dole Philippines and then married her partner in Islamic rites last July 10, a day before she tested positive for COVID-19. Meanwhile, the Antique Interagency Task Force will recommend to the regional IATF that the province remains under the low-risk modified general community quarantine. Antique Governor Rodora Cadiao said this is to ensure that the people will still become observant of the health protocols. The province was classified under the MGCQ low risk by the IATF for 15 days starting July 1. Antique, as of July 14, has 2 confirmed COVID-19 cases from Barbaza and Kulasi towns. In Zamboanga City, the city government is looking to build more isolation facilities to accommodate the increasing cases of COVID-19. The local IATF said the COVID-19 cases totaled 317, with 5 new confirmed positive cases as of Sunday. Of the total number of cases, the local IATF said 121 are active, with 186 recoveries and 10 mortalities. Of the active cases, 26 are admitted at the Kabatangan Isolation Facility, 42 at the Lantaka Facility, 34 at the Iyuntes Facility, 18 at the Zamboanga City Medical Center, and 1 at a private hospital. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Rom Dulfo.
In our business news, Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas Governor Benjamin Diokno defended the need to gradually reopen the economy, saying the economic impact of COVID-19 is projected to be greater than expected. The BSP continues to forecast a U-shaped recovery for the domestic economy. In the first quarter of the year, the domestic economy contracted as measured by GDP by 0.2%, the first negative output since the last quarter of 1998. From the original 6.5% to 7.5% growth target for this year, economic managers have revised their target to a 2% to 3.4%. Diokno said the second quarter output is expected to be in a deeper contraction due to the implementation of the enhanced community quarantine. Economic managers, however, project a recovery in the latter part of the year and a growth rebound of about 8% to 9% for 2021. Over 80% of more than 5,000 business establishments in Metro Manila have complied with the interim guidelines on workplace prevention and control of COVID-19. DOLE National Capital Region Director Sara Buena Mirasol said about 4,000 companies monitored by her office and the Department of Trade and Industry were all compliant with the guidelines. These include wearing of face masks, maintaining a physical distance of 1 meter at all times, checking and recording of the temperature of workers and visitors, and ensuring sanitation and disinfection. Offices are also reminded of the signages on COVID-19 safety measures posted in the premises, contact numbers of the nearest DOH facility or Barangay Health Emergency Response Team, and transparent barriers between office tables and open spaces provided. Employers were also reminded to ensure the following observations during the DOLE Work Accident Illness Report: company commitment to comply with occupational safety and health requirements, and updated OSH program to include COVID control, among others. Up next, the Department of Health says COVID-19 dedicated hospital beds are now below 50%, and more Pinoys hold on to their faith in fighting COVID-19. The PNA Newsroom returns after these reminders.
Alamin ang tamang paraan ng pag-ubo upang mapigilan ang paglaganap ng coronavirus disease 2019. Ugaliing magdala ng panyo o tissue. Kung uubo o babahing, takpan ang buong ilong at bibig gamit ang panyo o tissue. Kung walang dalang panyo o tissue, maaaring gamitin ang braso na pantakip. Kung nakararamdam na kailangan umubo o bumahing, agad na dumistansya sa mga tao sa paligid. Huwag dumura kung saan-saan, gumamit ng tissue at itapon sa basurahan. Ugaliin ang paghuhugas ng kamay at paggamit ng alcohol o hand sanitizer upang mamatay ang mikrobyo. Basta't sama-sama at laging handa, kaya natin to! Isang paalala mula sa DOH, PCOO, KBP at ng himpilang ito. Sa matinding laban natin sa Coronavirus Disease 2019, sugpuin din natin ang pagkalat ng fake news. Huwag magbahagi ng impormasyon na hindi tiyak ang pinagmulan. I-check mabuti ang source ng balita. Kumuha lamang ng impormasyon mula sa mga official channel ng Department of Health. Huwag magpadala sa maling balita. Basta't sama-sama at laging handa. Kaya natin to! Isang paalala mula sa DOH, PCOO, KBP at ng himpilang ito.
The 10-member ASEAN bloc is taking a tougher stance on the maritime row in the South China Sea as it explicitly called on parties to act consistent with the international law. Last month, ASEAN leaders underscored the need to pursue the peaceful resolution of disputes following international law, including the 1982 United Nations Conventions on the Law of the Sea, or UNCLOS. The regional leaders noted that several activities, including land reclamations and serious incidents, have eroded trust and confidence, as well as increased tensions in the region. The ASEAN reaffirmed the importance of maintaining and promoting peace, security, stability, safety, and freedom of navigation in and over flight above the South China Sea. The South China Sea is contested by the Philippines, Vietnam, Malaysia, Brunei, Taiwan, and China, which claims almost 80% of the waters under its so-called 9-dash line. In 2016, the Permanent Court of Arbitration invalidated this vast Chinese claims. 15 members of the new People's Army have surrendered to the government in separate occasions in South Cotabato and Sarangani province. More on this from Marita Moaje.
15 more new People's Army rebels surrendered to government authorities in South Cotabato and Sarangani province on Monday. 9 of the former NPA combatants, who were former members of the NPA's Guerrilla Front 73, surrendered in South Cotabato and 6 in Sarangani. The surrender was an offshoot of the series of community outreach activities these past weeks, spearheaded by the 1st and 2nd Provincial Mobile Force Company. Meanwhile, the Philippine Army considered the arrest of 4 suspected rebels in Negros Occidental as a huge blow to the Communist Party of the Philippines, New People's Army. Major Sinon Pancito III, Chief of 3ID's Public Affairs Office, said now that the CPP-NPA is crippled by the series of combined operations against their group, they know what this government can do to paralyze their movement. The 4 suspected CPP-NPA officials were arrested in a joint military and police operation in Cabangcalan City on Friday. In a separate statement, NPA Apolinario Gatmaytan Command spokesman Juanito Magbanwa denied the 4 are CPP-NPA officials. In Negros Occidental, a farmer in Himamaylan City was gunned down by 9 suspected NPA rebels in Sitio Asaran, Barangay Buenavista on Sunday afternoon. Randy Rosiana, a resident of Barangay Mahalang, was killed a month after Joelito Hilacio was also shot dead allegedly by the same perpetrators inside his house in Barangay Carabalan. The Army's 303rd Infantry Brigade strongly condemned the murders of Rosiana and Hilacio, which it tagged as a blatant violations of human rights and humanitarian law. Barangay Buenavista is apparently frequented by communist rebels who had figured in several encounters with government troops in the area. In North Cotabato, police arrested in Magpet Town on Monday a suspected member of the NPA who was long wanted for a string of criminal charges. The suspect was identified as Jonel Amada Navales, believed to be a member of the NPA's Front 53 operating in the area. Navales is facing several criminal charges, including a murder case and 11 attempted murder charges for his alleged involvement in the January 28, 2019 roadside bombing of police personnel in Barangay Poblacion. Police said the arrest of Navales as eyes and ears of the NPA group would surely destabilize their attacks against military personnel and government installations. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Marita Moaje.
Amid assurances that there are enough beds to accommodate COVID-19 patients, the Department of Health reports that the occupancy rate of beds dedicated to patients on a national scale is less than 50%. DOH Undersecretary Maria Rosario Vergara said about 46% of COVID-19 dedicated intensive care unit beds and 45.7% of COVID-19 dedicated isolation unit beds across the country are occupied. While some hospitals have reported that their COVID-19 dedicated beds have reached maximum capacity, the occupancy of hospital beds converted into COVID-19 beds nationwide is at 49%. The DOH called on hospitals to convert 30% of their hospital beds into COVID-19 dedicated beds, citing that there are many COVID-19 patients admitted in the National Capital Region, Calabarzon, and Central Visayas. She said the public must not be complacent with a less than 50% national occupancy rate. The city government of Puerto Princesa is retrofitting programs for the tourism industry, including agri-tourism, as it starts to gradually welcome more economic activities. Communications Secretary Martin Andanaro on Tuesday agreed with the local government's push for agri-tourism as one of the diversified methods to respond to the COVID-19 crisis. Puerto Princesa City Vice Mayor Maria Nancy Socrates shared that the agri-tourism initiative was made to ensure food security and become an additional source of income for local farmers. She added that continued efforts are being done to retrofit the tourism sector in compliance with the new normal and guidelines set against COVID-19. Meanwhile, the Information Technology and Business Process Association of the Philippines has named Puerto Princesa City as one of the digital cities being eyed to be developed into ICT hubs. Socrates said the city government would focus on undertaking revamps on its ICT infrastructure and preparing the city for more business process outsourcing investments. Majority of Filipinos believe in the importance of faith in fighting COVID-19, based on the nationwide Veritas Truth Survey. 89% of those who participated in the survey conducted by Radio Veritas believe that faith is very important in battling the health crisis. 9% said that it is important and 2% said that it is somewhat important. Radio Veritas President Father Anton Pascual said most of the respondents believe that God is much bigger than the COVID-19 health crisis. He said the survey is indicative of the respondents' desire to conquer fear with faith. Meanwhile, Radio Veritas is launching its 4 o'clock deliverance prayer against COVID-19. The faithful are invited to a nationwide prayer to San Roque, the patron saint against plagues, to ask through his intercession, protection, and healing from COVID-19. The feast day of San Roque is on August 16. Let's take another look at today's biggest stories. The Philippines vow to address human rights violation claims. The country will still maintain its friendly ties with China amid Beijing's rejection on arbitral ruling. BSP Governor Benjamin Diokno stresses the importance of gradually reopening the economy. And more Pinoys hold on to their faith in fighting COVID-19. Thank you for watching another episode of the PNA Newsroom. To check more news content, visit our webpage or head onto the Philippine News Agency's Facebook and Twitter accounts. For more stories about the government and how it serves Filipinos, look for these hashtags at all of our social media platforms and websites. We are shown on the pages of the PCOO and its attached agencies. Also watch us on television on PTV4 and IBC 13. And that's your daily dose of the biggest stories that you need to know. From the PNA Newsroom, I am William Theo. Good day and stay safe to all.